The case that Joe Biden, the media, the pundits, all made that Joe Biden was the adult in the race. World peace, economic prosperity, respect, democracy, and a promise of a return to decency. He said this: "Let's restore honor and decency to the White House." November 2nd, 2020. This is still up, by the way. You would think somebody would have taken this down from his account by now, but no, it's still there. And the irony is that 3 years into Build Back Better, we're further from anything resembling anything decent. The economy sucks. Race relations are at an all-time low. We're now financially involved in 2 regional wars. Nearly everyone of the president's family has apparently committed some version of tax evasion or fraud. Democracy was circumvented by Nina Jankowicz and her Ministry of Truth. And now we have a Senate staffer filming porn in the Senate briefing room. But don't worry, CNN is saying it's a right-wing thing. Look, I don't care who you sleep with, gay, straight, something weird like pansexual or whatever. Just don't do it in the Senate building. This guy should be fired, not for his orientation, but because anyone who has sex at work gets fired. That's how it works. Anywhere you work. Because it's not appropriate. This dude also apparently shouted "Free Palestine" at a Jewish Congress member, but whatever. This guy also said that he's exploring all legal options. This is great. Making his official statement that he's now deleted on LinkedIn. Quote, "This has been a difficult time for me as I have been attacked for who I love to pursue a political agenda. While some of my actions in the past may have shown poor judgment, I love my job and would never disrespect my workplace. Any attempts to characterize my actions as otherwise are fabricated, as I will be exploring what legal options are available to me in these matters." Look, and this is why we don't say this guy's name. Sure, he made a stupid decision, shouldn't have done that, but he did it in the Senate room. That's why he was fired. The irony here is that everyone is more upset about 2 guys screwing in the Senate building than they are about the Senate screwing us for decades. These people are the first ones to scream that Trump was indecent and that somehow that would be a disqualifier for him being the president. Look, yes, Trump had affairs, said a couple inappropriate things, and 80 million people still voted for him because we didn't care. Because the economy was roaring, we had world peace, and China was buying rice from us. But Team Biden told us that decency was more important than anything. And apparently we don't even have that now. Didn't Biden invite like topless trannies to the White House? You know, where they flew a gay pride flag that was flanked by American flags. And while that alone would be bad enough, let's just say this makes me question the White House priorities. They hosted some weird freak show Christmas dance that we showed you last week. It turns out it's even worse. It was composed of and by a bunch of people who are far left, anti-white, and anti-cop. And if this wasn't bad enough, what about the cocaine that was found near the Oval Office in July? Who'd that belong to? We still don't know. How did it get there? And what about these folks? HHS Secretary Rachel Levine, in charge of science stuff, yet claims to be another gender. Sam Britton, I don't even know what this guy is other than a luggage pirate, a bald dude who wears dresses and lipstick and makeup and calls himself non-binary, whatever that is. He was in charge of nuclear waste in Biden's energy department. And I mentioned Nina Jankowicz, the head of Biden's touted disinformation governance board.
Pondering is really quite ferocious. It's when a huckster takes some lies and makes them sound precocious by saying them in Congress or a mainstream outlet. So disinformation's origins are slightly less atrocious. It's how you hide a little lie.
Okay. She headed up a DHS program that was exposed for what it was, a means to silence conservatives. And after a mere 3 weeks, it was shut down. Well, actually, I don't think it was shut down. I think it was just renamed and moved somewhere else until they get caught doing it again. But Jankowicz blamed the shutdown and its ouster on misinformation. Now, don't forget their massive recruiting blunder, too, probably spurred by this being the face for military recruitment. I mean, this is unbelievable. The Biden DOJ has targeted conservative Catholics as dangerous, called parents attending school board meetings who, God forbid, might be upset about the fact that our kids are shown borderline porn and 2 years behind in education. We were domestic terrorists for being vocal about that. But what about the man who was arrested with zip ties, a gun, and a knife near the home of Justice Brett Kavanaugh? Biden never denounced that, by the way. Was he labeled a domestic terrorist? No. Were Black Lives Matter people who burned down $2 billion worth of our communities, were they domestic terrorists? Nope. Were the people who took over the House who were supporting terrorists, Free Palestine, shouting it so they couldn't do business? Nope. How about the hippies that stormed the Department of the Interior last year? Were they surveilled and given ridiculously long sentences? No. But if Grandma was ushered into the Capitol by police, she could be identified as an insurrectionist. Yet, Joe Biden has still not visited East Palestine, even though he promised to. Probably because of the community's Republican politics, but what do I know? Biden traded the world's most dangerous arms dealer for a pot-smoking, national anthem-hating WNBA player. Completely botched the Afghanistan withdrawal. Killed 13 American servicemen, men and women. Not to mention the billions of dollars of equipment that actually made its way into the hands of Hamas. And last year, if you weren't vaccinated, Joe Biden blamed you for spreading COVID, even though that turned out to be totally wrong. But yeah, decency and stuff. The same people who told you that decency was more important than anything have none. Never mind, everything else is in the toilet too. There is not one thing this administration can point to that shows any part of America being better off. I would say, though, if you ever feel stupid, remember, there's still people that intend to vote for Joe Biden next year.